currently 4 in the morning. I'm really tired.
The day was bright. I was tired. Both of our vehicles were jam-packed with necessities to survive our trip, and it was time to leave. Fortunately, I lost all of the footage I had taken of the immense prep involved beforehand, so my words will have to do. It basically takes a week of intense planning, from what each meal would be on what day, down to remembering things like our portable toilet seat. Then we actually had to purchase all of the food, which as usual was about 3 trolleys worth, before packing it very precisely into boxes and whatnot. Every detail had to be thought of in every aspect of life because we were going to be completely self-reliant a lot of the time.
I've been crossing my legs for the last 15 minutes.
We've just received intel that you have crossed one of the glass apples.
Stop that for a lark. I need a freaking wee.
We've been going on month-long camping trips to the middle of nowhere since I was 2, so we're all used to this process, and I like to think we've perfected it by now. Our destination on this day was to the Botswana border, where we would bid South Africa goodbye for a couple weeks.
Come back here, I finally got it.
Yeah, very effective.
If it took 12 hours of butt-numbing travel, alas, all of our numb butts persevered. This was our first trip where we had 2 cars though, because my brother and I, though mostly my brother I guess, had grown too tall to be shoved into the back seat anymore, so my mom and I travelled in the Fortuna while my dad and brother took my dad's new and favourite child, the Toyota Hilux. It was a true luxury to have so much space, as well as full control over the music. I've never felt such power. Unfortunately, a lot of the time my mom wanted to listen to her audiobook, which was a bit of a vibe killer.
Feelings to events leaving you feeling disturbed. Psychologists use the word
my room's the same. Wanna pierce my nipples and go dancing in the rain.
It was great to see the South African countryside again though. It was quite refreshing and very different from the European lifestyle I had been leading for a while. And then we made it to the border. We stayed at an overnight lodge right on the other side, which was yet another luxury to be honest.
Wanna go ahead and pack a picnic just for 2. But it scares me to think that you, baby, don't look at me that way. Don't look at me that way.
My brother and my dad had to go refuel the cars and they unloaded everything, so I am left on stuff watch duty. I basically have to sit in this chair and stare at the stuff to make sure nothing takes it and no one takes it for as long as they're gone. I'm having a great time. I'm so entertained. As you can tell, I am loving this. Not bored at all. I mean, the odds of someone actually taking something very slim. There's one old couple, and by old I mean like 60s. I'm pretty certain they won't want to touch our stuff, but better safe than sorry, I suppose, and you never know what kind of bird might fly in and eat everything into the air. So to give myself entertainment, I'll recount my very boring day. Nothing really happened. It was literally just a 12-hour car ride. My mom and I drove in the one car and my brother and my dad drove in the other car. We had walkie-talkies though, like radios, to keep in contact because we would be lost without each other. And it went pretty smoothly. Going through border control was a little dodgy because we didn't know you weren't allowed fruits and vegetables, because they've just changed that because of some fly disease thing, but they didn't really search our cars at all. On my mom and I's part, I think it was pure sexism. They didn't think we'd have anything in there illegal. I think the customs officers were like just done at that point, to be honest. It was like nearly time for them to close and they were like, yeah, they didn't really care. So we made it through. Right back yonder there is the Limpopo River. Super healthy out here. If you drink it, you will dissolve. And tomorrow we're going to our first campsite, which is another, I think, 11 or 12 hours away, and we're going to stay there 3 nights. And I haven't camped in a very long time. Last time I camped was in Luxembourg. It was a failure. It was with my friend Mary, and we did not plan at all. We didn't pack in any mats or anything, so there was no insulation. So yeah, the ground was uncomfortable, but also the ground was cold. And we woke up at 5 in the morning, looked at each other, and were like, let's get the fuck out of here. It was the most miserable night of my life. It was so cold. Now with my family, they're veterans at this. Like, we're a little more prepared. It's been a while since I've been camping with my family. By a while, I mean about a year. It's gonna test our bond, that's for sure. Instead of just a month-long camping trip as we usually do, my dad has decided to treat us. So it's like camping and then a lodge and then camping and then a bush lodge, like stuff like that, which is quite nice. I think I'm the only one in the family who really struggles without other human contact. Not to sound like a brat, like I grew up like this, but yeah, I just like people. I'm perfectly happy and capable of camping in the middle of nowhere by myself, but I also do enjoy knowing that there are other people around us and that we're not in some apocalypse. Another thing that I was initially kind of bummed out about it, and now I'm like really chill about it, is the fact that I don't have data and there's no Wi-Fi or anything, and I won't have for about 5 days. And I think I've just gotten so used to this last year being on my gap year, constantly having access to that it was a bit of a shock to me at first. Like I completely forgot what it was like without. And then I thought about it and I was like, do not be pathetic, that is not a problem. I've done it before and I can do it again, and it's actually probably a really good thing because I do have an issue with like focusing on my environment around me. I say this while recording something while I'm meant to be watching some items. It also gives me more time for reading. I bought a book, like a notebook and a pen, so I can write down any thoughts that I have. I always do this, but I never really write anything. Maybe this time will be different. Maybe, we can only hope. Spend time with the family as well, like really proper quality time, like no distractions, no TV, no phones, like whatever. I forgot the chessboard. Oh, that sucks. I really wanted to play chess on this. Like my friends know, I've been itching to play chess this entire year and no one's wanted to play with me, and my dad is one of the only people who plays chess with me, and now I forgot the board. Right. Good morning, it's a new dawn, it's a new day. It is time to leave civilization forever. I'm being over dramatic, but yeah, I'm actually really excited. It should be fun. How are you feeling, Mom?
Cool, cooks.
I'm glad. Ready for another long trip.
Ready for another long day. At least you've got aircon.
But we don't have lunch.
We don't have lunch, it's very sad. Do you have a carrot?
Cat, this is Dirty Dog. We need some information from you.
Into trouble. Feel your body warm and close behind me. Turn around, you're not there.
We arrived at our campsite in the dark because we went the wrong way. The tracks in the reserve were really confusing, but it was okay. Considering we hadn't done this in a while, we actually set up camp really fast. I was also pleasantly surprised because there were proper ablutions. When I was told there would be ablutions there, I was expecting what we normally have, i.e. a long drop toilet, which is basically just a hole in the ground with a toilet seat positioned over it, and some flimsy infrastructure for hanging the portable shower, which would limit us to like 1-minute showers each. That's what I envisioned when I was told there were ablutions. But there were actual showers, toilets, and sinks there. I was highly impressed. We did hear pretty close lions calling to each other, so that's pretty exciting because it means maybe tomorrow when we go out during the morning we'll see some, or maybe they'll come to our camp tonight, who knows, hopefully when we're already in our tents. Yeah, I mean, like if they wanted to, they actually could so easily break in. They just have to like flip their little paw in a sassy manner and they'll very easily get into our tents. But psychologically it does help, you know, that like separation as opposed to us sitting around the fire. This is not fixing hair time. The rain from the previous night had brought up all the worms, and the ground was just covered in them. We were truly outnumbered. Every couple of minutes, another would be crawling all over us. It was truly the land of the worms. I'd kind of forgotten about the flies and bugs and worms because it had obviously been a while since I've been in that environment, and you don't normally remember these kinds of like small things when reflecting on memories. They were all very persistent and kind of annoying, but it became a way of life and we kind of adjusted to it all over again. My brother and I went on a drive by ourselves to escape them. My parents weren't too worried, as the worst we could do was crash into a thorn bush, I guess.
We're back to the worms.
Listening to wind chimes, married a fool. I know in my head, listening to wind chimes.
Stressed out passenger. Okay, we've lost our parents officially.
This looked like the face of a confident driver. We got out of the deep sand and we didn't die.
And then, by some cruel twist of fate, when we were all innocently having sundowners by a borehole, it rained by our campsite. A lot. Like far, far more than normal.
This is heartbreaking.
I wonder how deep it gets.
Oh, worms are dead, that's for sure.
Is that your like nightly theme song?
Yeah.
Close all of the doors, Maisie. Make sure he knows I'm gone. Close all of the doors, Maisie. Make sure he knows
Hello there. This bathroom has literally become my refuge. It's actually worrying. Whenever it's hot outside, it's cool in here. Whenever it's cold outside, it's warm in here. There are no bugs, there are no insects. I feel very safe in this bathroom. And yesterday we went through a ton of deep sand and mud and stuff, and I could have drive to that for the first time ever, so that was really cool. I felt very out of my depth, but it was pretty exciting. But yeah, we got back and we had missed the rain. The best part, what we've been looking forward to the whole day, because we could hear thunder in the distance, we'd missed it. But there was a massive flood, as I'm sure you could see, and our whole place got flooded. In the semi-darkness, in the complete darkness, because the sun had just set, we were like trying to get all our stuff out of the water and save as much as we could. The charcoal just like exploded and there were like chunks floating everywhere. It was absolutely chaos. Yeah, but we sorted it out. I mean, most of today was just trying to dry everything and just recover. Sleeping last night was interesting, to say the least. Luckily, for some reason, our mattresses were floating, so everything on the mattresses and one side of the mattress was completely dry. Sleeping bags were dry. Yeah, so it was actually pretty lucky all in all. It could have been so much worse. And then today, we went for like a sundowner drive and we saw a lion, which was cool. Oh yeah, and earlier today I could hear like squealing in a tree, and I looked up and there was this snake in the tree and I couldn't see its head, and it had its head in like this crevice, and it pulled it out and it was like holding a bat, like a bat like this big, and the snake wasn't that big itself. It was a black mamba. Didn't recognize it, but according to my dad it was a black mamba. He literally held the bat for like 10 seconds and it died. That was intense to watch. And then we watched him fall out of the tree because he couldn't hold his own weight. That's been the day. It's really hot. It did rain earlier, which was a relief. Honestly, I think we're all traumatized from the flooding, so we didn't get to enjoy it that much, but it was good.
When you get out of the hospital, let me back into your life. I can't stand what you do. I'm in love with your eyes.
So I ended up missing the most exciting event there was that day because I was washing up dishes by the ablutions like the good child I was. Thankfully, my mother's natural instinct was to capture the absurd situation, so she recorded it all. Do you remember that black mamba I saw eating a bat? Well, it had decided to hibernate inside the engine of my dad's car, and the next hour was spent trying to pry it out carefully with tongs, to no avail.
Oh shit, fuck. There he is, right there. Where is he? Right there, over the screen hose. It's coming out. I can see his tail here, Keeks. He's coming in somewhere here. He's under this wheel well here.
Eventually we had to give up because we had to leave for our next destination. Luckily, for the snake, and us I guess, it was flushed out at a water crossing shortly into our journey, so it was a happy ending for all.
Bakeries all day long. There's a lack of sweetness in my life, and there is pain inside. You can see it in my eyes. Oh, there is pain inside. You can see it in my eyes. It makes me think about me, that I've lost my pride.
Our next campsite was in a place aptly named Baines Baobabs, where we would be spending one night. It had the quote-unquote ablutions I'd expected from the previous place, so we had to rig up the good old portable shower. We had been planning on just putting out our mattresses and sleeping under the stars, but the storm brewing and my mother deterred us.
You are officially a farmer. Welcome to the guild.
Once or twice.
Tamron learning how to cut oranges into half and then thirds.
Basically a professional at this point. I mean, I don't think you can even critique me anymore. Look at that. Perfection.
When we're not slicing the plate, of course.
It's very rude.
We all know they help us cry when we're alone late at night. Don't you love them too? That where you got your eyes. Oh, and I can't stand what you do. Sometimes I can't stand you, and it makes me think about me. I'm involved with you, but I'm in love with this power that shows through in your eyes.
We visited the famous Baobabs and naturally clambered around them before heading off for our first lodge, Gooma Lagoon.
Your world is beautiful. I'll take the subway to your suburb sometime.
We went on a very informative boat ride around all the channels of the lagoon, which was just such a cool experience. It was really different from what we normally do, and we ended up seeing crocodiles, hippos, and even elephant, which we nearly crashed into because they were bathing in the middle of the channel.
Please make things cleaner. Fill me with dirt. Whatever makes you worse. Lavender is always running through my blood. I've had enough. I'm cold and it is dusk, turning to dust. It's dripping from my gums. It's not enough. Staying healthy. You need to help me.
We also went for a sunset boat ride, which was just so idyllic. I spent the entirety of my next day reading. It was our last day at the lodge, and my brother and dad went out fishing the entire day, of which I was not a fan. Near the end of the day, the lodge owner's son and his friends actually invited me out for a sunset cruise on their houseboat. They were so nice, and there was something kind of special about hanging out with a bunch of people I probably wouldn't see again, just playing games and talking late into the night. We even climbed onto the roof and lay stargazing after the sun had set, and it was like a scene out of a movie. The next day, we'd be leaving for Namibia, so I just enjoyed my newfound friendships while I could.
To dust is dripping from my gums.